So today I'm gonna sort of like cater to a different group of people that are interested in AI. There's like so many videos out there with people showing you what AI can do with like startups and like building websites and all that sort of stuff. And yeah, that is good and helpful, and you can sort of fall into a bucket of just AI slop, and people just start pushing so much stuff. Maybe some of it's specific to you and useful to you, or sometimes people are trying to like sell things, and what happens is there's just no demand. Like there's so much stuff out there. There's no demand. So I'm going to go through my sort of experience with AI and what I've built and what I've sold. And instead, I'm going to teach you guys like how easy it is to make these things. And for today, I'm going to use Grok, which is interesting because Grok I was never a fan, and then Grok 4.5 came out, and it's incredibly powerful. It's good. It's obviously not like, on like a Claude or Codex ChatGPT sort of level, but it is definitely useful. And I have this like strange suspicion that some people out there that aren't aware that I mean, I don't know if this is true, but I just have this weird suspicion that people are still using like the website of like say Grok or ChatGPT and typing in and getting the code that way without understanding that you can have. Well, now it's pretty like now there's apps out there like that. It's so like so common that people should know that they can install a program now that where Claude or ChatGPT can run on. But for this Grok doesn't have that. Grok is still terminal based, and that can be sort of like daunting and like scary to people. And back before when AI was in these fields and it was like 4.5 Claude or whatever, like just lower models of AI, you couldn't really trust it, and it wouldn't perform that well. But now things have gotten like quite better. So I'm going to pull up this browser and just show you like how to install Grok. Grok install. So I mean, the AI overview will tell you how, but we want to go into Grok build, and this is it. So there's a command here, and you can just hit this. This will copy it. And for me, I've already installed it, so I don't actually need to install it again. But you open a terminal, and all you have to do is hit the Windows key and type CMD, and otherwise you can usually right click. Never mind. There was another quick way to open the terminal. Doesn't matter. However, maybe you don't want to work in this folder. So we're going to open File Explorer. I'm just going to quickly go to new folder for this project. Here we go. All right, sorry about that. So I made a folder. So today by the video you can see I'm going to show you how to make a bot for Polymarket, and I'll go into that in a second. But if you want the AI to work specifically in that folder, all you have to do is sort of click the top browser, the top bar, the taskbar, whatever you want to call it, and type CMD. If you hit enter, usually in faster times. Okay, my computer is just it's just not good today. So okay, otherwise you can, if you type in the top, you type CMD, it will open a terminal. You right click open a terminal, and this will open a terminal in that folder. So when you get the AI going, it'll work only in that folder. And so let's pretend you already went through and in the terminal and you copied this. This is for PowerShell, so it might throw an error, but I'm not going to install it. But if it does throw an error, you just have to hit the Windows key and type power, and then put the command in there. Let it install, let it run, and then you will need to log in. It's all really straightforward. This is what you're working with. So for people that haven't used the terminal sort of AIs before, it can come across a bit like what do I do? And it's not easy to just click and sort of navigate around. It's a lot of forward slash commands and just stuff you have to sort of get comfortable with. What you should do is always make sure the effort is on the highest effort and the model is always on the flagship, the latest model, and then you can proceed with the work you want to do. And then you also want to have, for me, I mean, it's preference for me, probably for beginners, you don't want always approve because otherwise it will keep prompting you to say, to get confirmation that it's allowed to do things. And that's okay because for beginners, you don't want it doing something you're not sure about. So let's get into it. It's taken a while, but sorry. Just want to make sure you guys, are aware of how to even get started. Obviously, you will need a subscription to the AI of your choice: Kimi, Claude, Grok, ChatGPT. I mean, even Gemini, wouldn't recommend it, but even, which is Google. There's others like GLM. It's a pretty decent model. There's Quen. Anyway, let's get into it. You can go you can even go to what is it, GitHub, and you can subscribe to their thing, and you get like a collection of AI to choose from. But this is, I'm getting too complicated. But let's get into it. I am going to show you how to make a Polymarket bot. So Polymarket, you should already know what that is because this is probably spiced your interest. It's a prediction market. There are so many different types of ways of trying to win on Polymarket, and there's like arbitrary, there's AI stuff, there's weather bots, blah blah blah. We're just going to do a copy bot because if you copy someone that's winning, you usually win, okay? But I mean, there's no guarantees, and this stuff is like pretty easy because Polymarket, there is plenty of bots out there, and this is why I'm introducing how to do it. So you can just do it yourself instead of like having to choose, from a selection of like Telegram bots or a different type of bots. I own polytraderbot.com, and yeah, I have enough experience in this field. It's very difficult to get it right, but a copybot isn't. Copybot is just about configuration and like the leader you select. So we have opened it. We are opening Grok or the AI of your choice. And AI is very sort of literal, and it does have common sense, but not as much as you would like. So you need to, there's no special ways to prompt. I see like people talking about like MD files and guidance and blah, blah, blah. It's not really that important. So let's just get into it. And you just like, oh, hey, I want to build Polymarket bot, specifically copy bot. I want to connect to my Polymarket account and trade. Excuse my spelling and my slow typing. Please research. Ooh. I mean, spelling errors don't even really matter. Research, documents, and Reddit, and other areas of the internet to create this. I want a dashboard. So I want a dashboard so I know what's happening. So I can see what's happening. And also guidance on who to copy, follow, Polymarket, please make sure this bot is easy to use and easy to set up, easy to configure. So that's the prompt I'm using. Nothing really special about it. I'm using it in the folder I had specific to this project. I'm just going to close this down for now. And then the reason I'm using Grok today as well is because it's incredibly fast. There is fast modes on the other AIs, but that costs extra credits, and this doesn't. This is just Grok. Grok is just quick as fuck. Another thing I should mention is skills and MCP tools. I should have. Okay, so another thing you could have prompted as well is please like install any skills or tools that'll help you. So that's something. Sorry, I should have told you earlier. This kind of give the AI like ability to pick and choose, because it will make the right choice. You sometimes just have to push it a little bit further and make sure it's sure. Like, are you sure? Sort of stuff. Okay. I'm going to maximize this and I'm going to make myself smaller so we can see what's happening, and maybe we'll put myself over here for a second. All right. Paper run. So this is something that I've always experienced with making bots with Polymarket. It's always like dry paper run, like, oh, like don't spend your money. Look, that is the safe thing to do. Like, don't, like, you want to do that because that also will help you test different configurations that work well. But like, if you want to start spending money, we're gonna have to make it like actually trade. So it pushed out a lot of stuff. It told me like the research, what Reddit said, what we'll aim for, and the .env is always going to be important. It's always going to hold all your like private data. So yeah, okay. So how do you want the bot to trade? So we want it to like why not all, right? So can we? It should have dry mode and light mode. Simple as that. But that was relatively quick. Usually AI like Claude and ChatGPT would take quite some time. There's a lot of like thinking and reasoning and all sorts of nonsense. But Grok is really quick, which I'm very happy with. It hasn't made any folders yet, which is concerning. Do you want to run this? So this stuff like is good, like a bit of back and forth. For me, that I've been using AI for quite some time, I kind of get frustrated. I just want it to get things done. But this is actually really good for beginners and people wanting to know how to build a bot. And this is asking where you want to run it. And so there are restrictions, obviously, in Polymarket. So I can technically run it here if my computer takes a flight, or we can run it on a VPS. So I'm just going to run it here because of this video. So we'll run it, we'll run the bot. Yeah, but for you, potentially, you might want to run it on a virtual private server. You have to get one from DigitalOcean or Hertzner or wherever you have specific. You want to, for location, is you want Dublin because that's the closest to the Polymarket servers. You just want, it's like playing a video game. You don't want lag. You want the nice ping. I think a small list for copying traders. I think when you copy someone, it's not about just copying one person. However, if you copy too many, I think that's a bit bad. So I think the bot should be able to copy one or more, depending the option to add or automatically. Well, the bot. There we go. So I was discussing like how many, obviously, like how many traders to copy. I think one is pretty good, but two or three is still good. Otherwise, you can copy a big bunch and then not everyone gets it right. Right. So okay, so this is another thing. It's like more configuration stuff. We obviously want the configuration, like it's recommending stuff as well, which makes it way easier for you as you're building. So we do want D. Yes, D. So we want the configuration mix. We want to be able to choose how much we're going to bet. All right, one more important question. Oh, now it's using the proper planning stuff, which is fine. We want it to mirror. So obviously, if we're copying the leader, we're copying the leader. So we just had to press 1 there to choose that option. Okay. So it's come back and told you how it's going to build it. And to most people, well, not all, but to people that aren't really, knowledgeable in that sort of field, it can be a bit daunting. You're not really sure which to pick. So just really go with the recommended. And that's why they usually have this, we'll just go with approach 1. We'll just follow the recommendations because if this is your first time building a bot, I mean, it's pretty much common sense. It's now going to give you the architecture of how it all works, which is it's very, very cool to show you like all this stuff. But again, can be a bit overwhelming. But again, we will trust. You can. I like to say things like you are the expert. You decide. So that gives it more sort of permission to just start getting things done. A lot of questions back and forth. Now thinking, and it should actually start building. Okay, well there we go. So it's taking full design ownership and it's locking in the remaining. So writing complete design doc. Okay, so now here we go. There we go. It's already using different sort of tools to help it. It's just making files now. So folders, sorry. There should be more than just folders very soon, but we'll see how long it takes. It shouldn't take long. I mean, this is the first time I've built with Grok from scratch for a Polymarket. Usually I use ChatGPT. So for my preference, it is ChatGPT. Claude just released the Opus 5 and I have been experimenting with that. And it is different. It stands out differently to other sort of Claude models. It's like personality is different, which is kind of weird. It seems a bit, I don't know how to explain it. It just seems like it does things differently than the older models, whereas the older models just had this tendency to be lazy, and that's why I prefer ChatGPT. ChatGPT is a bit too specific and literal, so that's where Claude is sort of more chosen because it just sort of works better with you. But if you can figure it out, ChatGPT is pretty good in my experience. Right. So it's done all the documents. It's decided all this stuff. Please skim the spec file and say if you want any changes. We don't want any changes. We're happy. Okay, because the reason we're getting AI to build this is likely because you and myself can't build things to this level, or you can, but AI can do it faster, and then you can skim over it. By the way, you don't need any coding experience. Over time, you do need a sort of basic understanding of, I don't know how to explain it. It's like what is sort of happening, but not exactly how it's happening. So that way you can sort of catch things, because AI will be doing something and you'll be like, ooh, that looks a bit strange. Like you'll notice perhaps different IP addresses or different just tools and things and little patterns, and you'll be like, hey, it's gone off track, and you can stop it. It's now asking how to execute, and we definitely do want subagents because that will get it done faster. So we'll just type 1. So this means subagents means it will just sort of separate the tasks to different, little agents, like clones of itself, and then the main guy, the main grok, will review it and be like, yep, that's okay. And it just basically gets the task done much quicker. And as you can see, it's making other folders. And a lot of this stuff will be done relatively quickly because that's this grok. Grok is fast. Grok is very fast, which is why I like using it. Another thing you'll notice with using AI, more specifically ChatGPT, because that's what I use more. I don't know what happens with Claude. So with Codex, you will work on a project with it for a long time, and I'm talking a long time. And the code base and the session itself will get incredibly large, full of data and like conversations and code and just memories and skills and blah 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 blah. And Codex will get incredibly slow. Like it'll just go very slow, and I think that's the sort of stuff I see on social media and Reddit and whatnot. There you go. It's creating more files. Anyway, where people are like, has Codex slowed down for anyone else? And it's likely that they're on a project that's very long. And Codex, I mean, it's just using so much resources, so it's eventually getting really slow. So what I like to do is get that session to do a handoff. So I'll go like, I even tell it like, this session's getting ridiculously slow. Can you please just write a document including all important information to hand over to another developer? And then it'll do that, and then I'll get another Codex session, a new Codex session, to take over that session. And another thing you can do is get the ID of the Codex session or the AI session. Majority, or I think all AI have this session ID, so it's just the identification for that specific session. So like the session we're having right now, if I were to press Control on my keyboard and press Control C and close it down, it'll say grok, like it will say it's closing down, but then at the end it will have like grok, like if I want to resume this session, grok resume, and it'll have the ID. So that ID itself is like very useful to then pass over to a new session saying, please take over from this session. It is slow. It left a handover document, and if you need any more knowledge, you can look through that session, and it will do that. This, however, can lead to the new session getting slower faster. Interesting sentence. But it will last, like it will be fast for a long time. But I think because it takes in a lot of data from the old session, it just sort of becomes slow within, I don't know, a certain amount of time. Another thing too with using AI, while this is building, I'll just discuss my experience. I built like lots of different things, specifically bots and just websites and different sort of programs and tools. But anyway, a lot of experience. A lot of common issues, I should say, I have with AI is the assumptions. Not so much like hallucinating. I guess people call assumptions and hallucinating potentially the same thing, but the assumptions, like AI assumes a lot of things, and it's very frustrating because it's like stubborn. So like if it's now assuming something, the stubbornness takes over and it focuses on what it's assuming. So it could be working on something, and prior history with working with this session, it's had no issues with accessing a VPS or a website portal, like something like just accessing something for the more simpler terms of things. And then all of a sudden, it'll forget how to access it, or just something won't happen. Like it won't access what it's trying to access. And then from that point, it'll be like, oh no, I have to think out another sort of route into doing what I'm trying to do because I can't access this and I don't know how. So if you ever see that sort of stuff happening, from my experience, it does happen. Maybe it's just me, but you just sort of pause the session or, chime in and be like, hey, you do have access. Stop freaking out. Let's just, try again. And it will then fall back to its memory or like get that data or information it needs and then, continue normally instead of just routing crazy different pathways. So that's something in my experience, like AI, well, Codex does whatever it has to do to continue a task, even when it's like fallen out of its normal system of steps and procedures, and that becomes really frustrating. So majority of the time you don't have to monitor AI and what it does. I mean, you always should, but sometimes things can take a long time. But for me, I'm pretty confident and I leave things to run overnight and wake up and bang, it's all happy days. But it definitely can go south, and it, for starting off with things, you should definitely watch what happens. And I'm not sure, like, for me, I use for the plans, like, so for what I pay for in subscriptions, I never use API credits. I mean, I heard sometimes they can be better models. Not sure if that's proven. Who knows? But I use subscriptions, so like Claude subscription, ChatGPT, Codex subscription. I've got a Grok subscription. I have a GLM. I'm trying to get as many as I can, but it stacks up in funds, costly. I mean, bills, whatever you want to call it. And I always use the maximum plan, so the biggest plan you can get because of the amount of workload I do. However, for people going into this, unless that you're super interested and this is super exciting, I don't know. You start off just with the standard plan, as long as it gives you access to the coding sort of stuff. So then you can actually build with it. However, with the new models, they do chew up a lot of credits. You might find yourself hitting limits very quickly, and that can be frustrating. So one thing I don't like about Grok's terminal is it's really difficult to scroll. It's very hard to go back to previous conversations to see what's been happening. I'll see you back here when it's all done. I've hit my limit on on Codex, but I thought I'd just quickly show you what I meant with the sessions. So I usually use the terminal for Codex, but now that Codex's app has introduced like interesting features like using Chrome browser inside of itself and using the computer, and it has like, it just seems to use tools a bit better. So that's why I'm starting to use Codex app. However, it is a resource hog. Anyway, if you right click on a session, you have the session ID, and this is what I meant. So if I just paste this here, this is the session ID, and that's what I'd say, like, hey, take over this session, blah blah blah. So that's what I meant before talking about session IDs and that sort of information. Right, we're back. Grok's finished. It's built the bot. You can see some of the code here. I did give it some prompts on the way. I just wanted to make sure it was using like the latest stuff, because sometimes the knowledge that AI has is a bit outdated and it just gets a bit lazy on researching what to use. So it just updated a few dependencies or requirements to build this. It found an old a bot of mine, so I mean, that's sort of cheating. But anyway, here we go. So it's telling us how to start it, which is fantastic. This is something that I was going to think if I needed to ask it on how to start the bot. So we'll just do this. We'll just open a new terminal. This is where it's asking how it's telling us to run it. Did it say to open a terminal? It didn't, but that's what it means. So you can just copy things one by one. So you just do that. CD, it will just put you in the directory of the bot, and then we'll install the requirements. So hopefully I'm going to move myself back down. Hopefully everything just works. So everything's installed. For you, it might take longer because they might not be installed yet. So we'll just do this. Next line, copy and paste. Now we're installing things. All good by the looks of it. No errors yet. Let's see. Now we'll run it and we'll see if it opens. I think we will have to open the browser. So what's happening? All right, it's running. The bot is running. I do not see any errors. We can now open this. Just opening a browser. Excuse me, because I use. Here you go. You can see that I'm in the dashboard. All right. This is your bot. And obviously where I'm from, the bot won't work. It won't connect to Polymarket because there's restrictions. However, if I took a holiday and went to Ireland or a different country, I'd be able to use it. If my computer took a holiday, I'm not going to encourage you guys to go past restrictions enforced by, your country. But if you happen to take a holiday because you really want to use this bot, then, I told it to give us an easy way to set everything up. And we can go through this, but I'm not going to because that will leak probably private information. So we'll just go straight to the desktop, the dashboard. And right now it's running in dry mode. Still hasn't connected to the account, but it's got a bankroll. So there's dry mode. It's not real money. So it would just put fake simulated trades down just to give you an idea of how it works. AI has a tendency to tell you this is not financial advice, which it's not. It's even got a little leaders, so we can add leaders. So you just grab them from Polymarket itself. This is all the information is like public on Polymarket. It's got an activity tab, so it can tell you when it's trading. It's got a settings tab, which is really cool. Guess you can change the bet sizes. You can switch to live here even. The setup tab to help. Oh, this is cool. Who to follow. So this is a copy bot. And the best part is like if you don't really like something about it, you can just tell Grok, hey man, like I don't like it. I don't like this or that. You'd be like, change this, and then it'll do it. But this is the gist of like making a bot with AI in case you ever were interested in doing something like this. And this is my first video in this sort of series of, I guess, using AI to build certain tools that isn't exactly to try and sell to people. You can try and build a SaaS or a product with AI to sell to other people, but man, it is tough out there. Everyone's doing that. Otherwise, you can just build tools for yourself that maybe you want to experiment with trading. Appreciate if you guys stuck through the video. I apologize if it's a bit scuffed and weird. I mean, I don't know. Just venturing out in a different sort of field. If you do want me to sort of show you how to do certain things, like it's all pretty straightforward, but I guess like sometimes you try and build stuff with AI and it just doesn't do what you're wanting to do and it gets really frustrating. I mean, I'm happy to take on requests and go through perhaps a better way of showing you how. Another thing too, a quick tip is like Grok built this, and if you aren't really confident in Grok, you can always go to a different AI model that is more powerful and be like, hey, can you look over this? And it will look over it and fix and change certain things. And if you're worried about security or whatever, another thing you can specify there's certain fields you're worried about, and it will get on that and it will fix it up. Another thing too, if you wanted to run this in a virtual private server, there's companies out there that offer servers in better locations where there isn't restrictions. But hope this was somewhat informational. But yeah, thanks for watching. Again, if you want to know how to do certain things with AI, just leave a comment.